What is up, guys? Theseus here, and oh man, I was excited when Sea Monster of Theseus was announced. I know a lot of people weren't, and I can understand why. It wasn't what they were expecting. They were expecting a normal pendulum monster that let you +5 when you put it in the scale. But realistically, I think Sea Monster of Theseus is really, really good, and I think it helps out Phantom Knight zombies in so many different ways. It's actually just stupid. I love this card a lot. It does a lot, which I'll kind of talk about in this deck profile, because it really does change a ton of different things, and it's just way better than Gofu. When this card was released, a lot of people were like, why don't you just play Gofu? And it's just, I'll explain why when we get to Instant Fusion, but Gofu is garbage. Sea Monster Theseus is ridiculous. So yeah, let's just get into this profile, because I just want to tell you about it, honestly. So yeah, playing the standard Phantom Knight lineups, we have 3 Cloak to search things, 3 Gloves to send things, and 3 Boots to search other things. Yeah, all of these are like necessary. So you want to see these cards for Allure of Darkness mainly. They're also like some of the best discard targets in this. The zombie monsters don't do a lot when you discard them, but these guys obviously just get you more cards. And one of the things that we'll kind of talk about as we go through this profile is momentum. One of the reasons I love Phantom Knight zombies is because they build momentum like a lot of other decks can't, in that they put a ton of cards in the graveyard that you can just like kill your opponent with on the next turn. It usually takes 1 turn of setup, but even a play like just summoning Omega, setting Fogblade usually can end with you killing your opponent the next turn, just from the Omega effect, from the Fogblade special summoning stuff, from the Phantom Knights you have engraved, from the Mizuki, stuff like that. So yeah, for the zombies, we are playing 2 Unizombie, 2 Mizuki, and actually just 1 Solitaire. So this deck is actually, I don't want to say designed to go second, because you definitely want to go first if you win the die roll, but it is designed to not lose if you go second. And Solitaire was one of the, I don't want to say one of the worst cards in the deck, but going second, it's probably the worst card in the deck. It's just so, it's so susceptible to getting destroyed. I mean, you can just pop it with Trident, they can chain Max C to it, they can just do pretty much anything to Solitaire, and then your turn just stops. It takes up your normal summon. It's not even a dark if you draw multiples that you can banish with a lure. I just have a lot of problems with Solitaire right now, and luckily, now that we can play 3 Instant Fusion with Theseus, we don't need to emphasize so much on that Solitaire, because if you just have Instant Fusion and Phantom Knight, that makes an Omega. And it gets you the Phantom Knight search. So I don't know. Solitaire just isn't as important anymore. So I'm glad to cut it to 1. Maybe later on I'll bump it up, or if you're really good at winning die rolls, you can bump it up 2. But this is a pretty solid zombie engine. And the Mizukis, if you don't know, can bring back the Theseus, because the Theseus is properly fusion summoned with Instant Fusion. So that's like the main way that you're doing like an extra 2,000 damage to your opponent, is by bringing back the Theseus with Mizuki. Whoops. Anyway, moving forward, we are playing 3 copies of Terratop, as well as 1 Tekaton. I'm going to play this card in every deck, no. But I'm going to play this card in decks that it's really good in, and it is very good in here. Levier the Sea Dragon is just like a DDR on steroids. It's just, I mean, it's 1,800 damage, and it brings back a monster. Usually something that you're using to get another card, like any of the Phantom Knights or Mizuki, you're using those to get other cards, and then you're just getting them back for free anyway with Levier. So definitely a 3 of for sure. Always has been, pretty much, actually. We are playing 1 Fairy Tale Snow. So this is one of my weirder techs. I've never really played this in this deck. I have played it in the version that played Brilliant Fusion. We're not playing Brilliant Fusion anymore, because it's just not impactful enough. But in this version, this card's really good. So we have a lot of ways to discard it. You can use Unizombie, you can use Twin Deserts, you can use DDR. And then once it gets in the graveyard, you can usually just use it to OTK. I mean, most of the time, you can only summon it twice. I mean, if it goes to a real grind game, you can summon it 3 times. But it's just good, and it's like a combo card too, because once it gets in the grave, that is, because you can banish stuff and bring them back with Levier, the Sea Dragon. That's kind of silly. So I like this card a lot. It's one of the best disruption monsters in the game. We're not playing Lawn Mowing, but because I don't want to play that many cards, but it's still a good card as one of that you'll see often enough, especially with all the draw power in the deck. One thing we're also playing to round out the monsters is 2 Max C. I feel like you can't play this card, or if you can't play this game without this card right now, Max C is just way too good not to be running, so definitely want to play 2 of that. For the spells, we are playing 3 Pot of Desires. A lot of decks aren't playing this anymore because they have to play Zodiac Rat and they don't want to banish it, but Pot of Desires is still incredible in this deck. The 2 draws helps a lot, and you're playing just like mostly 3 ofs. Or cards that like don't matter if you banish them. So it's definitely really no downside of Desires in this deck. Yeah, I don't think I would ever not play that. We're playing 3 Allure Darkness. This is probably more important than Pot of Desires because it's a combo card. Lore is really good because it can banish the Unizombie to bring back with Leviair, it can banish the Phantom Knights. It just sets you up for like a whole bunch of plays, and it gets you 2 cards. It's just way too good not to play at 3. That's it for the draw spells. So you're playing 6 draw spells, so you can usually see that snow pretty fast. To continue, we're playing 3 Instant Fusion. This is the main card in the deck. So with Gofu, it was bad because if you do multiples, it like really sucked. And I know that you can't activate more than 1 Instant Fusion in a turn, but I would rather draw 2 Instant Fusion over 2 Gofu any day. I mean, you weren't really using the tokens for anything. I mean, technically you could pop them with Break Sword, but that never really, honestly, that just never came up. It just, I know people said it would, but it didn't. But Gofu is just like a brick. It was like always the worst top deck. And even if you like Gofu didn't do anything by itself, but if you just saw like an Infusion by itself, you can always just bring out Norden and revive something from the graveyard. That's definitely a play that you can make, whereas the Gofu only made level 8 Synchros, and Theseus can be brought back by Mizuki. And also, this doesn't like, I don't know, this doesn't take your normal summon like the Solitaire. It's just, Instant Fusion is just crazy, and it just outclasses Gofu in every single way, and in some cases it outclasses Solitaire as well. So it's an auto 3 of now that we have a second good fusion monster to summon. Next, we are playing 3 DDR. This is like your main OTK enabler. Almost always when you have this card or more than 1 copy of it, you can just win that turn. That's kind of a common theme in this deck, and it's why it's so good, is that there's like a lot of different cards that you just have, and they can just like push through back row and like kill your opponent on that turn. But DDR is one of the main ones. It's a card I discovered later on while I was playing Phantom Knight Zombies, and I wish I had discovered it sooner, but man, once I figured it out that it was really good, I just wanted to play it at 3 in like every version of the deck. We are playing 2 Tunisters. This card isn't like super great because like a lot of back row is chainable right now, but hitting cards in the end phase with this is actually just incredible, and it gets like Snow out of your hand and Phantom Knights out of your hand. A lot of times you're just like using it, knowing that your opponent's going to chain something, and then like it's still just getting cards out of your hand to use later on. So it's a 2 of, not a 3 of, but it's still pretty good. Next, playing 1 Rhoda. 1 Foolish, which in a lot of cases is just a better Rhoda, because it can send like Snow or the Mizuki or any of the Phantom Knights. But still, I mean, they're both limited, so it's whatever. 1 Soul Charge, that card's just ridiculous. And then 1 of the rank up magics, because like I said, we're trying to OTK our opponent, and the rank up magic is really good at doing that, so there's no reason not to play it. You can search it off of Boots or Cloak, so like, yeah, a lot of people missed that in the last one, but you can search it off of Cloak because it's the Phantom Knights card, and Cloak isn't limited to monsters. It's just that prior to this card, all the non-monster Phantom Knights that said the Phantom Knights were just really bad, so you would never want to play it. But just so you know, you can search with Boots or Cloak, so you can... because a lot of times you don't want to waste the Boots summon on it, but it's fine using the Cloak one on it. Or sorry, the Boots search on it. Lastly, we're just playing 3 Fogblade. You still have to play like some traps, even though it's like an OTK deck, because like you are going to go first if you can win the die roll. And I don't know, like I'm not playing D-Berry or like Strike or all those cards, because if you play this deck like that, like you might as well just play Zodiacs at that point, because like they're going to just be a better trap deck, because they take a 1-card combos that do a lot more than you can. But this deck can OTK really well, so like I want to focus on that aspect more. But you definitely want to still play the Fogblade, because it's just too good not to play. For the extra deck, we were playing the 2 Fusions, so 1 Theseus and 1 Norden. I think I've said everything I need to about Theseus. It's ridiculous, but it's a zombie, so you can bring it back with Mizuki. 2200 attack points, you can kill stuff, or you can synchro summon into different things. But and then Norden's really good as well. I was playing that before to make like rank 4s. We're not really playing a lot of rank 4s anymore because we don't have the space, but it's still really good for like bringing back a Unizombie. I mean, Unizombie Instant Fusion is double Omega, so that's pretty good, in my opinion. For the Exceed monsters, we have 3 Leviair. Leviair is the best Exceed monster. I say that every single time, but people seem to don't believe me, but this is like the one that you're summoning the most often with like every single hand, whereas a lot of these other ones are like more specialized. The Leviair recycles a lot of resources. There's no reason not to play it at 3. I don't know. Maybe I'll cut it to 2 someday, but I always feel like I want 3. For the other ones, we're playing Dante, Totem Bird, and Breaksword. Just 1 Breaksword. There's like no space in this extra deck, so I think there's really nothing I would cut. You could cut the Totem Bird, but I think that the Totem Bird comes up more than the second Breaksword does. Breaksword just isn't very good anymore. It just dies a lot and then restricts your summons, so it's like really annoying. Maybe if like Theseus was a dark monster, I would play 2 Breaksword, but the restriction on your summons is like really difficult to deal with. We are playing the Dark Rebellion and the Requiem Exceed Dragon. Both these are really good. Your opponent just doesn't know these exist. Like I can guarantee, well, they'll probably know that this one exists, but they probably won't know this one exists. And or if they do, they don't know what it does. You can catch a lot of people off guard. Even when you search like the rank up magic, they just won't know what's happening. You'll just win out of nowhere, and it's really funny actually. So I like playing these cards a lot, and this is like the best deck that can play them. Pretty much the only deck that can play them actually. And then one F0 to round out the Exceed monsters. Yeah, I want to get my uses out of this card before Link Summoning makes it like impossible to summon. I mean, it's not impossible; it's just really difficult. Probably not worth the effort. But it's just hard for decks to deal with this card still. I know Cosmos ships aren't a problem anymore, but it is hard for decks to deal with this. And then for the Synchros, one Black Rose to make with Norden and Unizombie, or I guess Maxi and Theseus. That's probably never going to come up. Also, Unizombie and Snow can make this, but it comes up for sure. Especially when they debarrier you, you can just Black Rose the whole field. And then 2 Omega, that's the best one. You don't need 3. You'll never make 3. And you can just recycle them if they die, so it's whatever. And then 1 Scarlet, because like a lot of people are just putting up a big board with a lot of special summon monsters with like low attack points. You just blow them up, do like 4,000 damage, win the game, whatever it takes. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck profile. I hope it changed your mind about Theseus. But yeah, I will see you guys later.